What's up, you guys? Grown Man Sessions is back. I'm your host, Timothy Rhyme. Thank you for joining me, and it's about to get real. On today's episode, we're going to be talking with Luis Guerrero. He is a math teacher at McClatchy High School in Sacramento, California, and we're going to be talking about today what it's like to grow up with ideas of what it's like to be a man and how it affects your mental health and how it can prevent you from seeking certain opportunities. So it's very relatable. I know I related to it a lot, and I hope you guys can too. If you guys get anything out of this, please hit the like and the subscribe, and please consider becoming a Patreon if you believe in what we're doing. For as little as a few dollars a month, you can make a huge difference. We're just trying to change the way that us men talk to each other and about each other so that we can just have a more open conversation about what this experience is like and hopefully change it for the better for other guys. All right, so without further ado, let's get this thing going. All right, guys, welcome back. My guest today is seriously a younger version of myself that I wish I would have done. My guest today is somebody that is from the area of Sacramento. I was born and raised in Sacramento, like most of you know, but he's from an area that I'm familiar with. But I feel like he just made much better decisions. He was able to avoid a lot of the BS, and he may be a little bit younger than me, but I've always thought that this dude is such a smart cat, man, and just following his journey. I really do I love what he's doing with his time and with his energy, and I'm really glad that he's able to join us today. So you guys just say what's up and welcome my boy Luis Guerrero onto the show. What's up, Luis?
Hey, what's up, Tim, bro? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for joining me today, man. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Been looking forward to it. It's been a minute since we connected personally, right? But yeah, man, I'm excited to be here.
Right on, man. I just want to cuz I know you personally to a certain extent, man, cuz we come from a similar area, but I just want to read your bio that you sent me because I feel like it's really dope. Is it all right if I read it?
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
I actually moved it around a little bit just for the sake of flow, but Luis is born in South Sacramento, and Luis is fortunate to have overcome the struggles of growing up in a low-income working class community plagued by drugs, gangs, and poverty. All at Sacramento State University, Luis holds a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, a math and physics teaching credential, and is currently a graduate student of the College of Education Behavioral Science Gender Equity Studies program. Luis is a math teacher at CK McClatchy High School. He's an on-air FUEGO DJ for FUEGO 101.9 FM in Sacramento and an in-game Sacramento Kings DJ. In his free time, he enjoys working in audio and electrical engineering projects, DJing, hiking, and coaching basketball. Man, just want to congratulate you on all your success, bro, and just just let you know, man, that it's really dope what you're doing, man. Like I said in my intro, we come from similar backgrounds, but I feel like I made some really bad decisions along the way, and it took me a little bit longer to turn my path around, man. So I got to give you credit for not having to do that, man, and learning the hard way.
Nah, yeah, man. Thanks for the intro. I appreciate that. But I mean, in a nutshell, I'm just a dude trying to live, man. We just trying to make it, and it's just one of those things. I just keep pushing, man. I just keep pushing, and we don't stop, man. The grind don't stop.
Heck yeah, I heard that, man. You know, as a high school teacher, right? Like you teach math at CK McClatchy High School, so I'm sure you encounter a lot of young people, a lot of young men. I'm just curious, man. Through your experience, what do you think young men are taught a quote unquote real man or grown man is supposed to be or do, or even through your own experience?
Yeah, man. Yeah, just from my own experience, like I see a lot of myself in the young men that I encounter, like that just coming through my classroom or just that I coach in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things we're not like explicitly taught, like, hey, you do this or you're we. I mean, this is just learned behavior. Like it's learned behavior through our environments, through the things that we're a product of. And
Mm-hmm.
I think one in particular, like I'm gonna be very vulnerable and put it out there, but like I used to be like really homophobic, right? But like I mean, I've grown as an individual and I've grown to see past that. But like no one ever told me that like I had to like I am supposed to be homophobic like explicitly, but it was in like hip hop, right? It was in the ideas of like machismo and what is a man in the Mexican culture. It is in Catholicism growing up, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of these different communities that teach me things about what it is to be a man, and it led to me like being homophobic, right? And so
Right.
so it's like the same thing. It's just learned behavior through the things that we listen to the things that we consume, and then sometimes it's just through the people we hang around, right? We just pick up these patterns, and it's just like just we're trying to fit in. And I see that a lot with the young men. It's like that they don't know, just like how we didn't know. We don't know why do we act how we act. Why do we do what we do? We don't know. We just do, right?
Yeah.
And so I see a lot of that, and I don't judge them. I don't blame them, but like I try to um, try to have teachable moments and teaching moments, and not to go pretty hard on them, but just make the young men think a little critically about what they're doing. And because I know I had moments of that with some of my mentors, and so like I just kind of continue to just like have conversations with young men because I'm like nobody to tell them what to do or what to say. But if I could just have a cool conversation with them, have a good relationship, plant that seed, hopefully it could lead to growth over time.
Yeah, for sure, man. I could totally relate because I feel like I have very similar experience, especially when it comes to the idea of being homophobic. And to be honest with you, man, like I didn't even realize I was homophobic for a very long time.
Either.
Because like you said, man, like it was like in the music, and then when I was, making certain songs or whatever, like I caught myself saying certain things. And I remember one time at a show, bro, like some lady, like it was at the Art Walk over there off of K Street, and I
Mm-hmm.
was performing, and I had a nice sized crowd, and some lady, she was vibing out with me, some lady that never even knew who I was. She just was walking by, she was vibing out with me. And then I seen her, like I said something in my lyrics, I don't even remember what it was, but I seen her, and she just totally like, went ghost face, and then she just walked away. I was like, ah, whatever, didn't think anything of it. But then after my performance, I was walking around and I saw her, and she was like, hey, she pulled me to the side. She goes, hey, uh, she's like, I thought you were really dope. She was like, but the second you started talking about like gay this and making little statements, she's like, you totally lost me. She's like, man, she's like, I wish that you weren't like that because I really thought you were dope. I was like,
Mm.
it was kind of a little learning moment for me, a little growing moment for me, because I was like, wow, I didn't realize that my music had that, or even just me in general, my views in general had that effect on people, man. And especially now that I'm a dad, man, like with a daughter that has LGBTQ friends, and then my son, who's 6 years old, man, like these are just things I'm trying to be mindful of so I don't pass down. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
I'm curious, do you think that, well, I mean, it's kind of rhetorical, but what about these ideas of these uh ideas of how we're supposed to be as a man? Like, how do you think it's harmful to us overall?
Man, I think if you look at the psychology of what is going on when you like holding your emotions, and like you internalize a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mental health aspect that a lot of people don't talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because one of the things of like in that is pushed on us, right, is that like men don't show emotions, and again,
Mm-hmm.
it's not explicitly said we don't show emotion. It's more said it comes in subtle ways of man up, or stop crying, or right, like be a man, right, don't act like a little
Mm-hmm.
girl, right. So it's like these subtle things that imply I shouldn't be showing emotions, right. And so
Right.
in the long run, right, like we become so disconnected with our emotions that it affects our relationship with women in the long run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not emotional, and then women are, on the flip side, very emotional, connected to their emotions. And so when you're in a relationship with a woman, like she wants you to be more emotionally connected with her, and you think you are, but you really ain't because you've
Yeah.
been suppressing it for so long. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's a psyche component that definitely um, plays a role when you internalize and you bottle up these emotions. Like eventually, like you start to develop like this anger or this like depression, or this internalized kind of like um, depressed attitude, which again is just like that's just a side effect of just internalizing all these emotions. And I think that's one of the things that um, like how it does affect men in the long run and in a negative way. I think there are some positive aspects. Like, I mean, and take responsibility. Like when they say be a man, like isn't it just not just suppress those emotion, but it's like, I
Right.
mean, there's some positive things that come with it, like own up to your own like mistakes maybe, or take
Mm-hmm.
leadership roles. I think that's a good thing. But it's convoluted, right? And it's in a way problematic when it comes with all these other things that are very harmful and detrimental to the psychology of a man.
I like how you say, man, that it's got this long term effect that can damage your mental health because I heard a statistic not too long ago about the percentage of suicides, how many of them are disproportionately male. And I didn't know that before, bro. And that was kind of scary because I was thinking to
Hmm.
myself, like, man, like I know personally a couple that have committed suicide just in my lifetime, man, and I didn't realize that it was that heavily skewed towards men, you know. So that's kind of scary to me, bro. Like I definitely don't want my son to ever feel like he's got to bottle things up to the point where he's gonna feel suicidal about things, man. So that's a pretty
Yeah,
scary
yeah,
idea.
and I heard something about that, and I wasn't aware like fully aware of the statistics, but I mean I could honestly see a connection. Like really think about like in this society where we especially where we come from, like it's regional,
Mm-hmm.
right? In our neighborhood, like you gotta quote unquote man up,
Mm-hmm.
and then think about it when you're so weak that you can't man up. I mean, and not weak in a physical sense, but like you just get to a point where like I just can't do it anymore, right? Like psychologically, like I just can't deal with it. Who can the young man go to, right? Can they go to another man that's probably gonna give him the same rhetoric, right? Oh, you just being soft. Oh, yo, you just got man up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like there's limited spaces where they go, and then obviously, like I know when I was a young man, I wasn't gonna go to another lady or lady friend or my mom and just be like, hey, like I'm going through some stuff, right? Like, nah, like those opportunities are shut down just kind of naturally through the natural train of thought of like manning up, right? So, yeah, man. So I can see the connection definitely of why it's a little bit more in men.
Yeah, man. I think having that space is really important, man. That's why I'm hoping, like, I could build this platform up and just maybe have somebody stumble upon it that they may feel like, oh, damn, like, I could relate. Like
Hmm.
I come from a neighborhood where I don't really have that kind of support where I can express those thoughts or those feelings.
Hmm.
And I like flipping the narrative on this because now that I'm older and I have my kids, like I send the message that like it takes a real man to like be able to express that side of themselves because that's hard, man. Like that's
Hmm.
when you've been taught that that's not how it's supposed to be for so long, man. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to really like let yourself be that vulnerable. That's
Yeah.
why I appreciate you saying it like at the beginning of our talk. Like you said, I'm gonna be vulnerable right now and let you
Hmm.
know. And I'm like, man, that takes a lot of courage, man. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. And that's what we're here for, right? That's what we're here. It's always a learning and growing opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you said that coming from where you come from, man, you had to deal with just the poverty and the drugs and all that stuff that comes with that kind of neighborhood. What was a motivating factor for you to not want to be a product of that environment, man? Because it's so easy to get caught up in it.
Man, that's a good question. Honestly, I didn't even figure that out until like I graduated high school. Um, and so like I was in college material. So like let's take it back, right? Like I'm middle school. I'm doing good in school academically. Like I'm one of the smart kids. Like I make honor roll like all 8 quarters in middle school, but I don't get to walk the stage. I don't get to promote because I was like quote unquote a bad kid. But like this is
Mm-hmm.
like everybody who I hung around with in the neighborhood, like off of Fruit Ridge and 44th, like we're either like in some gang or doing gang like activities, but like they're my neighborhood friends. Like I hung out with them, so I just follow along. Like it's just monkey see, monkey do type stuff,
Right,
right? Like I
right,
wasn't
right.
in a gang, I wasn't a gangster, but I was hanging around with them, right?
Yeah,
And it's just like whatever they did, we did, right? And it's just
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
how it was. Um, and so super good academically, and they all and then the crew always made fun of me, man, because like I was always like the smart kid in the crew, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was good times, but I get to high school, I play sports, I'm in sports. I don't do good academically in high school. I think I graduated with like a 2.4 GPA. I mean that's average, that's C, right? And I'm not really college material, so you know, I'm doing a little DJing thing. That's why I'm getting into it. I'm doing a little sound stuff, and I got a mentor who's like on my ass, like on my back. Can I cuss? Can I cuss? Is that
Oh,
a
you're
thing?
good, bro.
All right, cool. So I got a mentor who's on my ass. Shout out to Miss Godina, but she's just like, you know, hey Luis, did you apply to college? Did you apply to college? And I'm just like, yeah, but I haven't really. And then like one day she was just like, my senior year, she was like, I need you to apply. I need you to sit down and apply. So I applied, and um, you know, through her guidance, like she was able to like force me to like apply to one college, which was Sac State. Like, and you people who go to college know like that's not the game plan. You apply to like three, four, or five, have options. If you get rejected, you might get accepted somewhere else. Like I
Yeah.
just did that one thing because again, that wasn't in my path. And next thing you know, I get accepted, and then I go to college, and I failed, bro. Like I flunked. Like I failed hard. I was not ready. Like I got a 1.0 GPA. I'm like
Oh,
failing
damn.
classes. I don't got a car. I'm dead ass broke. I'm taking two buses to get to class. Like my mom's getting home, and then I'm borrowing the van just try to go back to school to get some homework done. And like I'm just struggling, right? Because like I mean we broke. I don't have a car. I don't have a job, or I have like a little part time job, and um, all I know that is I'm still kicking it with the same homies. I'm still, doing things, and it took me about 2 years to really figure it out.
Mhm.
And um, I got politicized a little bit in college. They were showing me some data on like just like the kind of like the school to prison pipeline stuff, and then like how this disproportionately impacts like us in the neighborhood and
Mm.
Latinos and black men and just people of color in general. So like it
Right.
started to kind of like make sense to me, right? Like I'm started to like, all right,
Connect
like
the
that's
dots.
to connect the dots, and I'm literally looking at myself like I'm being affected by this. Like I'm literally like flunking out of college. The university's like on the verge of kicking me out. They actually did kick me out, but I got like an automatic like petition reinstatement thing that like it helped me out to stay at Sac State. But they were just like, yeah, you got one more chance. And
Mhm.
so in that time, man, this is a true story. I think in that time when I was trying to figure myself out as like who am I as a man, like I was still a kid. I was 19, 20 years old, still like trying to figure it all out. And
Mhm.
I ended up working a show for which y'all did at Colonial Heights or Colonial Theater.
Yeah, yeah.
I think y'all brought in, remember Immortal Technique?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so I was at that show, and my cousin, y'all work with my cousin and whatnot, and so he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I need you to work a hip hop show." I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." So I didn't know anything of it. I just showed up. I was working, and then like the music was dope. Like I love hip hop, and so like I was listening to the show, and then Immortal Technique came on, and people were going crazy. Like I've never heard of him, and I've never heard of anybody like before him, and like he just comes on, he starts talking, and he's like, "Yo, but I got one thing to say." He's like, "Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future." And so when he said that, it like kind of continued to connect the dots for me, right? Like
Mm.
that one saying was like reflected. Like I picture myself in that saying, if that's a good way of saying it, because I'm like I'm trying to get my life together, and I'm trying to have a better future, right? And then so he just said that, and it just gave me this kind of this hope, and then it just made me pay attention to his music, and then I became a fan, and then I think from not from that point specifically, but from that moment in time, like that show played a pivotal role in me kind of transitioning and figuring out that like I gotta change. Like I gotta do something different. I gotta do something better. I know I got a future, but I
Mm.
just gotta figure it out. And so I thought it was pretty dope, man. It's just coming full circle. But that show, I still remember to this day. It was just like not life changing, but like in the moment, it was impactful.
Oh, wow, that's really cool to know, man. I remember that show.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool, man. I didn't know that. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I totally understand, your story, man, because I feel like I have a similar story because it took me some time to figure out like the whole school thing too. Like I had to, go take a step forward, take two steps back, take another step forward, take three steps back.
Hmm.
And it's all like, during that whole process, I'm still one foot in the street, one foot in trying to do the right thing. So it's like, I was like torn. But yeah, so like along your transformation, man, like looking back, you always recognize the points where like, you know, some greater force or some other energy was like tugging you in that direction, and you ended up changing your own trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that's a dope concept, man. That you
Yeah,
know you're not glossing over the fact that like it was hard, man. Like it was a grind. Like
bro.
it's a process. You know, it takes time. Like it's not anything
Yeah.
that happens overnight, man. And there's gonna be hardships, and there's gonna be like struggles, and there's gonna be things that you're gonna have to deal with and figure out, and try to make sense of, and that's everything that in my opinion that comes along with every single like chapter of anybody's life, man. Like I mean, even when you're moved past, like, and you're becoming more successful, there's always going to be new obstacles. There's always going to be new challenges, and if you just take that same energy that you just said, man, and apply it to those new obstacles, man, I feel like you're on a path to success.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's just like you said, like one foot in, one foot out. Like I had to cut off some homies, and not cut off,
Yeah,
not cut them off. Like I'm not fucking with y'all, but it was more like I gotta stop hanging out with y'all, and
yeah, yeah,
then and it was, but I kind of like ghosted them, right? And I kind of felt bad, but it's like I gotta stop kicking it with y'all and start doing homework. Like I would leave school and then just go kick it, So it's just like because they kind of they kind of weigh you down, and that's not like um and then that's not intentional, but it's just like we
yeah,
just want to
yeah.
kick and have fun, and I'm just like I want to do that, but just like I can't do that right now. Like right now, I got to handle business, and that was a process in itself. Man, it took me 8 years to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Typically people take 4 or 5 years to graduate from a university. It took me 8 because of that slow start, because of like I had to figure things out, and man, I did all 8 years at Sac State, and I took a semester off, and the whole thing, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, and then 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and then but slowly but surely, like I just knew that higher education was going to get me somewhere. I didn't know what it
Yeah,
looked like, but I just knew like that was it for me, and so I had to kind of distance myself, and it was hard because I still lived with my mom till I was 24, so I still lived off of Fruit Ridge. I still went back to the neighborhood, and I was just I was always around, so it was cool. Like I never gonna forget where I come from. Um, but I also don't talk about where I'm from as a bad place to be because like I got a lot of family that lives over there, a lot of friends, and it's just like
of course.
you know, we gotta
Yeah.
we gotta make sure that those places is still healing and thriving and still like livable, like because our family and relatives live there.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, man. It's not cutting anybody off, man. It's just creating boundaries and just knowing like when to, entertain that energy and when not to. I mean,
Hmm.
I think that's the hard part for a lot of young dudes, man. It was a hard thing for me, just saying like, hey, man, like I gotta go do, you know, whatever. I gotta go do this other thing, because then, you just want to be there hanging out.
Hmm.
What advice would you give to a young man out there that's surrounded by drugs, gangs, and poverty?
I mean, I would just say never. I mean, if you're gonna be on the grind, never give up. Just like never give up. Like it's one thing to be surrounded. Like we were surrounded by that stuff, right? And not like all the time, 24/7, but like you live in a
Hmm.
working class, low income neighborhood, so you just around poverty. You're around homeless people. You're around prostitutes. You're around like on your way to school. Like I used to get hit on by prostitutes. Like I'm like 9 years old, bro. Like what's up? Like I ain't got no money. But like and then you got the gang, right? And then you got like the gang, the homies got the drugs because they're in gangs and stuff like that. So that's going to be around, and to some point you resist that. To some point you participate in that. But just keep your eye on the larger picture, like on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize, and just never give up. Like whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, it ain't gonna come to you. You got to go get it. Like I try to tell the young people, like if I'm hungry, I'm gonna go eat. If I'm thirsty, I'm gonna go drink some water. If I want a better life, I'm gonna go work for it. For me, it's a very simple thing. Like if you want it, you're gonna go get it. It's very simple. And I could just use that analogy. Like if you're hungry, you're gonna get out this chair and walk over to that fridge and go feed yourself.
Yep,
Hmm.
straight up. Yeah, I think that's a great advice, man. Just I think everybody kind of has to come to their own conclusion as to like, when they're going to be ready to make that change or when they're going
Mm-hmm.
to be ready to take that step forward. And man, not everybody does it at the same point in their life. Like if you don't do it straight out of high school, it doesn't mean that you can't ever like go back to that. It doesn't mean that you can't, make better decisions later. I just always tell my younger friends and family members, just don't stray too far to where you can't make your way back.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I think that you can always, turn your life around, but there comes a certain point, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but there's a certain point where if you mess up just so much, it's like you kind of limit your potential.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, man. I yeah, that's really dope.
There's also like I'd be a fool not to recognize it, but just like there's a lot of um like stigma that comes around like being where we're from and what we want to do. Like for example, um like I eventually wanted to be an engineer. Like that's what I decided to study, right? So like I'm a kid from the hood, like in the snapbacks and J's, some Air Forces, and I'm walking into the engineering department, like at Sac State, right? And then it's like people look at you a certain way, they talk to you a particular way, they don't believe in you. Not this again, it's not explicit, right? But just the subtle comments that they talk about. Oh, you're an
Hmm.
engineer, like oh, that's pretty cool. Like I didn't know, I didn't expect that from you, or like just
Right.
little subtle things like that. And it's just like it is very hard to also um, try to get acceptance from other people. And so I would recommend like do you like be on the move if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a cop, if you whatever you want to do. Just people are going to judge you. That you're going to fit a stereotype. And I think that just comes with the territory because of who we are, where we come from. Especially if you keep it authentic, if you keep it who you are,
Hmm.
these things are going to come. Like I mean, we live in a society where we're judged by the color of our skin. We're judged by how we wear, how we talk, the
Yep.
colloquial that comes out, that comes with us.
Yep.
And so, um, man, so don't let that affect you. It's gonna come. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. It's gonna come. Just like don't let it
Hmm.
affect you. Recognize it for sure. But then just try to navigate that. They call it code switching, right? But like try to navigate that, and so don't let it that affect you too much because it does take a toll on you, man. People don't believe in you. They treat you a different way, and it again it affects the mental health. So and then when you recognize that, just be like, I love proving people wrong. So I was just like, man, watch, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it.
I love that, bro. Yeah, same thing, man. When I finally started going back to school, I decided to get into accounting, and I'm telling you, bro, like nobody that looked like me, sounded like me, even like any kind of like relation. I felt like the oddest of the oddballs in like
Mm-hmm,
any of my classes. I mean, and even as I made my way through, through college, and then I started working at these accounting firms, and now I'm a CPA, bro. And I still, talk the way I talk, dress the way I dress, got my tattoos, and I
mm-hmm,
talk to somebody, and I could totally see their energy change when I say I'm a CPA. The level of respect, the level of
mm-hmm,
courtesy, the level of like consideration for all these other different things that we're doing like changes. And
mm-hmm,
I understand it. I don't like it, but at the
mm-hmm,
same time, I do like it because I
mm-hmm,
I like how you said, man. I love proving people wrong. I
mm-hmm.
love seeing that look on people's face when they say, "Oh, damn, you are
Yeah,
like what? Like for
yeah.
real?"
Like I mean, it's one of those things that comes with the territory because we live in a society that a particular image matches a particular kind of success. An engineer
Hmm.
looks like this, a doctor looks like this, a lawyer looks like this, a successful business person looks like this, a
Right,
CPA looks like this. They use
right.
this kind of language, they talk this particular way. They make it from the hood and they leave the hood, so they leave the colloquial, they leave the snapback, they leave the J's, and it's just like, nah, like I'm gonna bring that with me to prove a point because
Yep,
um, it's one of those things that like young people need to see that success looks like this, looks like you, looks like me.
exactly.
Hmm.
This is something that I love asking because everybody's got a different answer because of course everybody has different experiences.
Hmm.
But what do you think is like the most important lesson that you've learned this far in your life?
Oh man, most important lesson. Yeah, man. I think for my own life or just in general or like specifically with.
Maybe
It's
just
just
something that just stands out to you that is like, like something that helped you get to where you're at, I guess.
all right. So right here, I've never met my biological father ever. Um, and so I had a father though, right? And so this man raised me when I was since I was 9 months. I didn't find out till I was
Mm,
15, right?
okay.
I had a feeling, he was like 5'8", my mom's 5'4". I'm 6'1" at 14 years old. Like I'm like, there's something fishy going on around here. And then I also didn't have his last name. I had my mom's last name, but um, he's dark like me. And he's always been there his whole life, and he always treated me like his son. And so I literally thought that was my dad, my
mm,
biological dad. And so um, I think a more important thing that I learned in life is that um, this man like raised me as his own. And I think, man, that's a real man right there. Like
mm,
to take someone else's kid and raise him as your own.
mm-hmm.
And like that kind of that level of love and care, I think honestly has like passed down to me because like now I'm a high school teacher, right? Like I work with young people all the time, and I literally like feel like they are my kids, not in a biological way, but like I express that similar care and love for them because I'm genuinely invested um, in like their success. Like I'm a math
Mm-hmm.
teacher, right? And so like I'm genuinely invested in like that they make it out the neighborhood and live a successful life, and hopefully is related to math because that's my bias. But I think it just that I think that throughout my whole life really showed me that like people can really love and care for people and look out for people, and they can have like no blood attachment. And I was just like damn, like it really took me a lot to like think about that because this man was there my whole entire life since I was 9 months, and I didn't never I never second guessed it, um, in terms of like
Like the
the,
feeling.
the feeling, but in terms of the physical, there was an obvious like there was an obvious thing that I'm just like, yo, where'd I get my height from? Because it ain't from him, it ain't from you, right? And so it all started to make sense, right? But I think
Right,
that
right.
was one of the important things because like if this man was not in my life, I was already young, reckless, and influenced by my environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
This man was the one who kept me in line, kept me checked, and made sure that I was, I was raised with some decent morals and some discipline. If this man was not in my life, I don't know where I'd be right now, to be
Yeah,
honest. And
for sure.
like this man, like hands down, changed my life. And so,
It's
um,
crazy that you say that, bro,
mhm,
because on this show, like I've shared with several of my guests that same thing, man. I've never known who my dad was, but I wasn't raised with a dad, right? And so like I would talk to like certain guests and say, like, I don't know for certain, like there's no way I could tell, I don't have a crystal ball, but I feel like 99.9% sure that if I had a positive male role model in my life, like how you said that had that love for me and looked out for me and gave me the guidance, I feel like I'd be in a way different path. Like I feel like I wouldn't have gone through a lot of the BS that I went through because I wouldn't be out there in the streets looking for that
hundred
love and that
percent,
attention.
100%.
And I feel like I see that in you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really dope, man. Shout out to your pops for giving you that, man. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing, man. And I hope that more men out there know that and heed to that because it doesn't even have to be your kid to be able to offer that kind of love or that kind of
Mm-hmm.
affection to
Mm-hmm.
another young man that you see that may need it. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment. It could be in passing. It could be on occasion. It could
Mm-hmm.
be, just something that happens every now and then. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
just
for sure.
planting those seeds and like giving them that kind of like feeling for a little bit, it could make a world of a difference.
Yeah, man. The positive male role model is game changing. Like even then, like I had a father figure, and even then, like I was the oldest child. Like I always wanted an older brother, right? So I always kicked it with my cousins. I always kicked it with my uncles, and
Yeah,
I
same
always
here.
I was always just trying to look up to somebody.
Yeah.
And then if I looked up to somebody, my dad knew who my friends were, so my dad would be like, "Those are your friends? Oh, you ain't hanging out with them? Nah, fuck that. Are you staying in today?" Like, and you know what I'm saying? But like, I was always, if I didn't have that, man, like I would have been definitely in some more trouble than I was already in trouble all the time, man. It was
Yeah.
hella funny. But yeah, man, it's that's a really good question, and I think um, I've learned to share compassion and show love, and like you said, even if it's in passing, but even if it's like 50, I see kids 50 minutes a day in the classroom, man. Hey, what's up? What's up? How's your day going? You know, just checking in with them. And then I coach basketball, so even when coaching, it's it's just through a season, couple months, and even that, you're a coach, you're a mentor. So like, um, as long as you always showing love, man, and being right with young people, someone's always gonna connect with you, because they're always, if there's an absent male role model figure missing, they're in search for something. And so I think
Right.
constantly trying to be available, and then just letting young people tap in whoever they can connect with. I think that's something that we can do. I mean, we're doing that all the time. Like we're just checking in with people, saying what's up, how you doing, and then whoever gravitates to it, right? And then we just kind of go from there.
Yeah, man, and I'm really hoping that for anybody listening, that if you gravitate towards this conversation and you find things that resonate with you, and you want to know more, man, I highly encourage you reach out to myself, reach out to Luis. Luis, where can anybody hit you up at, find your stuff at, man?
Yeah, man, just hit me up on IG. I think that's like the most active spot, or on Twitter. They're both the same handle, DJLG916. One more time, DJLG916. I'm gonna send my students to check this out. So if they stay till the very end, shout out to them who stayed and tuned in. So I'm sure it'll get back to me if they watch this. But I'm gonna send them the link. Y'all check this out.
Right on, man. Yeah, hopefully they do, man. And I always end the interviews by saying one person could change the world, but it's one person at a time, and then one person is you. If you guys have gotten anything out of this, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Follow us on social media at Grown Man Sessions. Leave us a comment, show us some love, because this is all for you guys, man. Like all for the young men, all for the youngsters out there. We're just trying to change the conversation, man, so you guys can see what it means to just tap into that healthy energy, that healthy manly energy. All right. So much love, Luis. I'll talk to you later, bro. And everybody else, stay tuned for the next Grown Man Sessions.
Peace.